Yo, what is going on, guys? Godrekton here today, bringing you a new video. And just to clarify, I am back. I am no longer as sick. I'm a little bit sick still, but I'm a lot better. And with that being said, I'm going to be trying making more videos for you guys. And one of the first videos that I do want to make is actually more important to me, and also just a mechanical type of video that I want to talk about. So the topic of this video today is for me to be showing you guys how I practice. And I feel like practice within League of Legends, or just anything in general, if you're trying to be the best that you can at something, is super important if you want to be the best possible self that you can. Now, everyone has their own ways of practicing, or their own ways of mentally being prepared into a game, or just anything in life, right? Like, if you're a fighter, right, you're going to train at the gym, you're going to be doing a lot of drills, exercises, you're going to be doing a lot of things that help you on the night of a fight. And with me, essentially, my own way of getting ready for a ranked game, or an important game for me, is that I go into the practice tool and I utilize every bit of that. Now, what this helps me achieve is that I can be ready for the games. I'll be very confident because my mechanical ability has been tested. I can also test that if I'm having a good day today based on how my practice went. Like, if I landed a bunch of my combos, like the way I move, the way I read the map and everything, all the visuals is all correct, then I know I'm going to be playing a lot better. So for me, the purpose of practicing is very important, and I feel like for a lot of people, they don't really understand this when it comes to trying to achieve a higher level than they're currently at. And I feel like this is why maybe I differ from a lot of people, especially Renekton players, and why my Renekton's pretty good. And I've been doing this ever since Season 10, and for me, doing it ever since then, I've achieved higher ranks, I've achieved more consistency, and I've achieved more confidence in what I can do and what I can perform in any given game. So, with that being said, what is practice good for, and why should I consider it for a player that is wanting to get into this? Practice just allows us to be more clean over our combos, allows us to be more mindful, allows us to test limits on our champion before going into a game. It even allows us to check ping as well. Like, if we're having ping problems, or we're unaware of what could happen, like before queuing up, we can check for our ping, we can see a lot of variables, we can, if you're someone that's a little bit OCD like me, having an environment to kind of test and get everything ready as well, like my mouse cable, like my setup and everything all good, then this by far is probably like one of the best things for me to like prepare for that mentally, and also just like physically in game, like just to get completely ready. So that's like another benefit that this also has on someone that's like, you know, very, like, I get affected by change quite drastically. Like, if I get the slightest change in like how my monitors are, my mouse cables, like my mouse pad, the way it's positioned, my keyboard, it like mentally messes with me. So like obviously there's another word I could use, but try to not do that for the sake of the video. But yeah, like there's a lot of things that it can kind of cause us problems, so this just kind of helps me feel comfortable. And at the end of the day, finding practice is also trying to find your own comfort in what you're good at, and also things that you're not good at, because if you can hone your skills in a way of not making these mistakes in a game, then that means you're more inclined to have more winning positions and more advantageous outcomes too, in terms of all the practice you're doing. Like, a quote that resonates with me that I think is very important is actually by Bruce Lee, and that quote is, "I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times." Essentially meaning, the more emphasis you practice on one core element, the better it becomes, and the more scary and more like ways you can, you know, do that. Like, if I'm so good at doing certain mechanics really well, and that's always going to present me with something that people aren't ready for. Even if it's like a basic mechanic on my Fury, if I can master that and get everything I can just from the practice that I'm doing, the more benefits I'm going to have, and the more like mental opportunities I can have within the game. And this is all because of practice. So for all this being said, and all the practice that I'm trying to like get to you guys, like explaining it and like why I love to do it and why it's so beneficial for me, what is it that I'm actually practicing, you might ask? Well, there's many different practice drills that I have before I get into a game. Some of these that I'll go individually as like a topic, or like just as a little sub like topic, as in this part of the video, is explaining them one by one. So the first thing I want to cover is movement. Movement is probably like one of the most underrated aspects to practicing, Because when you think of movement, you just think of simple clicks. You click to a position and then you get there, you know? Like, it's very basic, it's very understood universally, like, everyone knows what movement is. But there's ways of making movement, like, more beneficial to practice. It's like, if you're a, I don't know, some kind of Olympic caliber sprinter, or like someone that jogs, like trying to do like 400 meters or 800, whatever it might be, right? There's ways and techniques to do it differently. You could just simply run, right? But the thing is, it becomes more exhausting without the techniques applied to it to make it more better and consistent, which also goes into other ways of like how we can approach something like that, like the way we conserve our energy, the way we move in a certain technique that can allow us to keep more energy and assert more power in a position where we need to run down a straight as fast as we can. Now, in terms of league terms, movement can be used in many different ways. So instead of just like clicking up and going to a place like really slowly, you could use movement to be unpredictable. Like if I walk to you like this, you know that someone's coming to you, right? But what if I do like this, you know, like walk it in and out? Like my motives and my intentions are completely different to what the enemy's thinking, because they see me weave in and out like this, and because I'm weaving, my intentions and my way my opponent's thinking about me is constantly changing, because they don't know if I'm going to go aggressive or I'm going to go defensive. In this situation, I'm posturing aggressively if I'm walking in. However, if I'm walking in and out like this, not only am I being aggressive, I'm also being defensive, or like I'm trying to hold the line here of like how I let my enemies come in. And with things like this, we can also like abuse this too. So if I'm constantly doing this, I could walk out, then initiate on my opponent, and they won't be mentally ready because I'm giving them so many different looks and like things to think about. My enemy's going to be overwhelmed and they're not going to understand it. And this gets a lot of range matchups off guard, this technique alone. And that's just something I can practice, you know? Like just clicking in and out, you know, like in and out like this. It also gets you mentally ready too. So if you're someone that has slow like moves, you're getting hit by a lot of skill shots and you don't know how to dodge it, simply just being in and out like this, like clicking a lot, will get us like embraced for the moment. Like because our own mind is also moving a lot of how we move right now as our character. We can like anticipate things, quickly click in and out. Our mouse accuracy is also better. We can dodge more skill shots, and there's just a lot of things we can do in movement. So for me, my first drill is actually just like clicking around and just like getting my fingers warmed up. If I could warm my fingers up, just like make sure I go in and out, click, whatever it might be, I'm going to be ready to play my game, and also ensure that I have a more cleaner and less shaky laning phase. The next thing that I like to do is auto attack and spell training. Now, what this simply means is that like I'll just get a dummy and I'll hit it with auto attacks, like click in and out. Just something like this, you know, just to get us mentally ready for like our clicks, right? Like clicking on a target, clicking off, clicking back on. You know, it's really easy, right? But to you guys, like maybe it doesn't mean anything, but in a game, if we weren't just mentally ready, like the way our click accuracy is and everything, we're gonna have more ways of like, you know, like it's just gonna be more consistent for us, like when it gets into, like when we get into that game to do these things. And then I can also do like auto W, auto Q, auto E, auto E. So like all this basically gets us in the mindset of like how we play. And then I can also practice my Fury generation on Renekton. So every time I get 50 Fury, I can combo towards it, like this. You can just like be freestyle. I can just freestyle with this, like do anything I want. All this helps me get my Fury generation properly too. If I was more fancy, I could do some like Q animation cancels. Try and find ways to like get to 50 Fury as fast as possible. And all this becomes a big help just for warming up my mechanics. And also training my Fury generation, which I take pride in. And I'll also explain more in my next video. The next thing that I want to go into as well is that I will train my animation cancelling. Renekton has so much types of animation cancels that you can basically, you know, do all of them if you wanted to, just to train them. I have over the years, right? And I don't think I need to train everything. But some of the mechanics that I use the most is the Q cancel, my W cancelling, my full combos. All this is stuff that I want to train because it's very easy to still mess up, right? Like if I want a Q cancel here, which is the EQ auto attack, I can do this, right? But I can get it faster, like this, you see? So there's like, there's a clear skill element to this, like how fast you can do it. So I simply train this by constantly practicing the dummy. See how here I can have like a little mistake. Some days I won't hit it as much because, well, it's not that I won't hit it as much, but I won't be as consistent. And this is the thing, right? You can tell based on all your practice, like how your games are going to go to and how you feel about it. If you feel sloppy, you feel like you're making a lot of mistakes, it is going to affect you in the game. And again, we'll just like a power W here, test things, you know, try and test our combos, which is possible. So all this is pretty helpful. Also, like using my dashes, I can practice my dash speeds. Some people ask me, how do I fast dash? And I think you can train like with this mechanic specifically to get a faster dash. Because some people dash like this. But you can actually speed it up by like being really fast on your second dash. Now, keep in mind that lower ping is probably going to be the best way of doing this. But you can do it on high ping. It's just practice and like anticipating the right frame where you do this. Because a lot of it is just frame reading, like knowing when you hit the E and then like the input you press afterwards. So that is also like another thing I like to do, just like all the mechanical aspects. Then I do like some combos like this. All these combos are used in game. I don't use things like I'm not gonna go do like random like things like where I use an ability in a certain way. Like it all has an intention and purpose. Like I train with purpose and I train for a situation that can happen in the game. Like the way I reach Fury here, like I have 35 Fury in my head. I want to calculate to 50 Fury. I auto for 40. I then Q. And then I have Empower W ready. And I just use it. Like, it's all things like this that you need to mentally read. And the more you practice this, the more natural it becomes within your own gameplay. And this is kind of like what I'm trying to teach you guys here. On why practice is important. You don't need to practice a lot. I practice like 15 minutes to like 20 minutes potentially. It's a bit longer for me. But like, at the start of my stream, I usually practice before I play, as you guys know. And this is like a big thing that I do for this. But finally, like some of the last things I like to do is full combos. I like to also train on different attack speeds. So earlier on, like within level 3, I'll do these Q cancels. And it'll be like a bit slower, but you can still get it perfectly, right? But the more attack speed you have, the more easy it is. So I try to make it harder for myself, which also makes it easier for myself in the fact that the more I train with a certain like attribute, the more I realize like what to do, how to do it, like what to mentally think of, like the timings and stuff. Like it all pays a big like price into your mechanics and like the way you get better as well, like how you anticipate things. Yeah, some like combos I do is like I try to flash as well. Getting flash ready in games is good because sometimes you can flash and like not be in range or you maybe make a mistake. So I train for this. Do like my fast combo like this. Like this. Right now at level 7, it's not the fastest and like no items. That's why we train it. We try and be fast as possible on lower ping, so it ends up looking, you know, a lot cleaner for us and it feels nicer. And then when I'm satisfied after doing it a lot, I'll buy items, increase my levels to level 18. I'll buy some items for the game, get Prowler's Claw here, which will soon be removed, sadly, but I'm going to make a video on that soon. Buy this, that. It doesn't matter what you really buy. Just if it's things for the game that make sense, then it'd probably be good. It's probably good for a feel to buy it, just so you get used to it. You can also take this off and train without it if you want to. Just depends on like what you want to do with it, like to practice. The combos too in doing this, I try and like W straight on the Empowered W frame, like when I get my Fury. Like, Fury is a big thing, too, people need to practice. Like, any way you can get 50 Fury is huge. And I recommend people to, like, really focus on this as well. For the combos. Prowler Claw 2. Doing all these combos. I'll probably have on the screen, like, the combos I'm doing right now. Just for, like, if you guys are interested. Try and do all of my main animation cancels. WRQ. WRE. W, EQ auto attack. you just freestyle it. Like, this all gets you ready for your first game. And then once you go into game, you're going to do super well when it comes to, like, hitting things, like... Now, it won't be, like, instantly, but I guarantee you'll have way more success just by practicing and implementing this in your gameplay. And you'll quickly see the development you'll have in your Renekton or even other champions, right? This alone helps me play anything because I'm mentally ready for the game. I've already adjusted to all the visuals, and I don't need to play a practice game. A lot of people play a practice game. I don't feel like I need to because I feel like my game sense and my game reading is already, like, good as it is now just by, like, playing, like, one game, like, in practice tool. Like, I look at the map, like, I know how I feel. Like, if all this is already, like, compensated for, like, I already focus on all this, like, when it comes to the game, I'm already mentally prepared, and I'm also, like, ready to look at all that stuff because I'm already confident in my own self in doing these mechanics and stuff. So, yeah, that's essentially it. I guess the final thing you can practice is your E's as well, like, E'ing over walls. This is something I do sometimes. Make sure I hit every E. Hitting all my E's at the perfect spots like this. It's really important if you're running away, you know, like you would dash over here, maybe dash back, do a combo. It's all things to, like, increase my skill ceiling. Maybe a little bit of a W flash. Oh, that was different there. There we go. So I'll try every wall too. I can even try this wall here. Am I gonna get first time? And not first time. He'll have his mid lane. So essentially, that's pretty much it when it comes to talking about practicing. So I feel like this video was important to make because a lot of people always still ask me, like, how do I reach this level? Like, yes, I know all this, like, guides, I know what to do, but, like, I'm still not clean. What do I do? And I think the only real thing to getting better at this stuff is just by practicing. If you practice, like, practice makes perfect after all. Like, that's the greatest saying you'll ever hear when it comes to being better at a craft or anything. If you can practice as many times as possible on one thing, you're no doubt going to be better at something. Like, with anything, like, when it comes to learning in school, all that stuff you're doing becomes in your mind. It's all conditioned for that. Like, you're conditioned for the things in front of you. When it comes to an exam, all that practice and hard work you've been putting in is all going to be prepared for the exams that you're going to be doing. And I think just with anything in life, it's the exact same thing with League as well. Like, there's a lot of examples to real life that can be applied into League, and when you really think hard about it, you're like, oh damn, that makes a lot of sense. And it's the same with this, right? Like, if you practice all this stuff, you're going to be no doubt perfect, and you're going to be able to play a lot better because you don't need to focus on one element of the game. If you take away all the micro stuff, you can then focus on macro because you're already confident in your own ability to do combos. But you see, this is just lots of hard work and dedication, like, just to do things, like, effortlessly too. But I still practice. Like, you're not going to get good not practicing. Like, you can't just go into something and, like, half-ass it, you know? Like, you have to put all the work into there. That's how life is at the end of the day with things. And if you want to truly get better as well, that's, like, what it takes to be the best. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching the video today. I hope you were able to take something from this. Hope you're able to learn a lot more as well when it comes to getting better. It's another perspective and alternative you guys can take. And I hope it really benefits you, like it benefits me, because I really think practice is everything. And ever since I've been doing this, like, I've really been able to learn more about myself. I learn more about my good and bad days when it comes to League. And if you're able to learn all these things about yourself and learn, like, what it takes to be the best part of yourself, then you're gonna destroy solo queue. You'll know, like, the days that you play super well, the days you play super bad. Like, it all becomes very clear for you. And the more clear it gets, the more easier the climb is. And like my last video about the mentality, if you have that perfect mentality and mindset, it's going to ultimately just create this for yourself, you know? And it's just another step in the way of being the greatest player that you can be. So with all that being said, I keep saying this. Thank you all for watching today. If you learned something, make sure to write in the comments below. If there's any videos or any ideas you want me to explore and, like, talk to you guys about, make sure to leave also in the comments below. And I will see you guys in the next video. So peace out and have a good one, and good luck in your climbs. Goodbye.